Welcome, here I've got REALME C11 2021 and let me show you how to use Camera Pro Mode at this device. So let's start by tapping on camera button to open it, and for now we are on standard capture mode, so we have to change it by using the settings bar and just simply going to right to more. Here we get access to more modes of this camera, one of them is the Pro, so let's pick it. Here we are. This mode gives us possibilities to choose some shooting parameters by ourselves. This is useful when we want to learn photographic skills or making experiments with photography. So let me start with this settings bar. Let's go from the left. The first option we can manage here is exposure compensation, so we can get access to this type of slider and manage the light of our photo by going to the right on it. We can make it more bright, as you can see. By going to the left, we can make it more dark. To go back to auto settings with exposure compensation, we have to simply move to 0 to center of this slider. And let's go to the next option, the shutter speed, so we can change the time of taking picture. We can make it shorter, as you can see, from 1/1000 of second, and this time should be definitely better to objects that are in move, for example, with good light, to frozen them at the picture. And when we move to the right on the slider, we can check that the longest time is 1/5 seconds, and it should be better to objects that are stable or if we need some blur at our pictures. And of course, there's no problem to go back to auto settings with shutter speed. We have to simply move back to the beginning of the slider to the left. Now let's go to the third option. We are on AF from autofocus. Let's change it to manual one. And as you can see, we can focusing easily as we need by using the slider. And we are on MF settings now. To go back to auto, let's simply slide to the left to the beginning of the slider, and now let's move to the next option, the ISO, so we can change camera's sensitivity to light. We can make it less sensitive from 100 or more sensitive to 1/6000 of it, so this is wise choice. I think it's really professional here. And of course, when we slide to the left, we can move back to auto ISO. I also want to show you that when we adjust ISO and the shutter speed settings together, the exposure compensation button from the left is locked, because the exposure compensation here is kind of basic light management, and by using ISO and shutter speed together, as you can see, we can manage more advanced our light. So if you want to be like a professional photographer, you need to use these two parameters to adjust the light, or if you need only basic way to manage the light, you have to stay on auto on these parameters and use exposure compensation. Now let's move to the next option, the white balance, so we can change temperature of our picture and we can pick from the ready lights we have, so it depends from the light we have in the area where we take a photo. Let's stay on sunshine now, then cloudy. We get access also to incandescent and fluorescent light. So as you can see, this is kind of balance between blue, cold tones of our photo and the warm orange light. And of course, when we slide to the left, we can move back to auto settings with that. And let's move to the next option, default settings. Here we have two sliders. I think this is also useful because usually these two parameters we can adjust after taking the photo, not before. Here we get access to contrast and we can make our picture more contrasted or less contrasted. And we can also make them more saturated or less saturated to go back to kind of black and white photo. And this is how to use them. Now let me adjust all of these parameters to take a photo. So maybe let me start with the saturation. I want to be less saturated and more contrasted my photo. I guess that we can see it at the real picture, not in the preview. And now maybe let me pick sunshine, white balance, the ISO 200. Maybe let's stay on autofocus and move to the to this shutter speed. As I said, the exposure compensation button now is locked because we used shutter speed and the ISO to manage our light. So let's take a photo. To see it, we have to move to left to the button that follows us straight to the gallery. And this is how it looks like. Thanks for watching. I suggest you to making experiments with all of these settings and just have a good fun. Subscribe our channel and leave the thumbs up.